Thank you guys for waiting. Catching this match between Hoogland and Graebner. Just a few turns underway. We're about to be on Graebner's third turn. So Jeff Hoogland at 19, Graebner at 20. And we'll run it down. We have an Aether Vial on 1 for Samuel. Looks like Athalia's Lieutenant as a 2-2 and a Noble Hierarch as a 1-2. Come back, Jeff Hoogland with Mutavault and Lightning Bolt.
Yeah. Sam online with some reasonable setup here. Once again, you see Cavern of Souls and Aether Vial, so those main deck counter spells for our Wizard player will not be paying any dividends.
Yeah, it looks like Jeff had to remand Athalia's Lieutenant that was being cast with Cavern of Souls. So he had to cycle it. And look at this hand. So Freebooter shows a hand of Obstructionist, Snapcaster Mage, another Mana Leak, and an Island.
The Snapcaster Mage is pretty good. That's good for that Lightning Bolt in the graveyard, though these Mana Leaks are just not good at all. Obstructionist is pretty good in the matchup. It is Jeff's best way to apply pressure. Those 3 power flyers are a big deal for him.
Right. And Jeff, knowing this matchup, you think either kept a hand heavy on counterspells, but likely has just drawn into it.
Yeah, when there's 2 Mana Leaks in the opener, it's almost already just a double mulligan. There's games where they can be good, and you saw a Phantasmal Image cast there into 1. You know, didn't have multiple caverns to get through that.
Another Thalia's Lieutenant, and for Hoogland, he'll make Delver of Secrets. But right now, between his counterspells and that Aether Vial, he's not keeping pace with Graebner.
If he's able to transform the Delver quickly, and he'll be able to cast that Nimble Obstructionist this turn, he can get a lot of power into the air really fast.
Yeah, he also has Snapcaster Mage still in the hand with Lightning Bolt in the graveyard. So that's set up as well. But Meddling Mage was the pickup for Graebner.
Unfortunately, the Vial's on 3.
Yeah.
Jeff will see that coming. You can't really... There's no opportunity to get it onto Snapcaster Mage, and there's no instant speed Vial activate to make it so you can shut off whatever is targeted by the Snapcaster Mage.
Yeah, the Vial started the turn on 2, but it did bump it up to 3.
Right.
And now, uncounterable, it will be Meddling Mage from Graebner. This should see a reply from Hoogland.
Yeah, you definitely want a Snapcaster Mage here. That's a fairly easy name in the matchup. It's just the best card in Jeff's deck.
Snapcaster Mage, gonna have to target that Lightning Bolt. And he should bolt something, but this means that Graebner can just name the Nimble Obstructionist.
Yeah, just the card that he knows is left over.
In first place.
Interesting decision for Jeff, choosing between the Hierarch, the Freebooter with the Mana Leak, and that Thalia's Lieutenant. And I agree, he chose Thalia's Lieutenant. That's the creature that's going to get the largest, the fastest.
Right.
Everything else, barring a Lieutenant, just gets out of Lightning Bolt range really quickly.
All right, and Samuel puts Mantis Rider into play off that Aether Vial. And he'll swing on in with his Flyers for 5, Jeff to 14. Meddling Mage was put on Nimble Obstructionist as well, so...
And Jeff really needed to transform here, and he missed. It looks like a land was picked up.
Right, Scalding Tarn's not going to help anything here. And Jeff, pretty far behind.
It has that minor upside where you get to look at your card with Delver, and if you don't want it, you get to shuffle it away. But he needs cards he wants, and he needs the Delver to transform as well.
Now, an update here, as this match was delayed, we were waiting on it. Ryan Ferries, our Burn player, does win the rematch 2-0, defeats Leonard Wernett.
We saw a nice little play there. Sam tried to use his Horizon Canopy, and Jeff stifled with the Nimble Obstructionist cycle that he couldn't cast.
Yeah, Sam kind of walking into that one, as he knew about the Obstructionist. But I suppose at some point, that'll just happen. Something will get Obstructionisted.
Yeah, not a huge deal either way.
No, Jeff's still down to 9, and he's looking fast for some removal.
And here we saw that trick with the Delver. Jeff saw something that does not transform his Delver and he doesn't want, very likely a land. Shuffled it away before the draw step, but he remains with no flying creatures.
Right. Now, fortunately for Jeff, nothing on Graebner's side has acquired a 4th point of toughness. So if Jeff can draw into removal and maybe a Snapcaster, he can still make his way back into the game.
I think Burst Lightning was just picked up, so...
That'll work.
It's expensive, but it can tag the Mantis Rider.
Yeah, we would have loved to have transformed off that Burst Lightning.
Right.
And I think Thalia's Lieutenant from Graebner. Not bad at all.
Might have been Thalia proper, I'm not
Thalia.
sure.
Here's a swing. Should force that Burst Lightning and kicked Burst Lightning on Mantis Rider. Jeff waits until the attack so that there's no Exalted.
Yep, good timing on that one. Still comes across for 2, though.
And right, this is Thalia proper, the 2-1 into play. And still no Transform on the Delver. Jeff getting quite low on life points here, down to 6. Leaf drew another Mana Leak. That's all 3.
That should have transformed the Delver if it was a Mana Leak.
Okay. And something else, you're right.
Get in front of the Freebooter, and if it's a blue card, it could be an Obstructionist. I mean, that'd be the reason not to cast one, right?
Yeah. Freebooter attacks, it exalts up to a 3-4. Jeff down to 3. And Graebner passes.
I don't know if it was an Obstructionist, stifling that Exalted trigger might have been worthwhile.
It's just anything.
Yeah, though it could be that Jeff is just really trying to find a removal spell for the Meddling Mage so he can actually just use the Obstructionist as a blocker, but the Freebooter has 4 toughness when it's attacking with Exalted, so that's not even good.
Delver of Secrets still does not transform. And now Graebner has a lethal attack in the air.
Yeah, just 21 instants and sorceries in the Wizard deck.
It is Spell Stutter Sprite. That's the blue card Hoogland picked up, and it's on chump block duty.
As it often will be in this matchup.
And now we have something that might transform. Or Jeff will pick up the cards. No help there. No way to deal with a flying blocker. Game 1 goes to Samuel Graebner.
And now we'll see Jeff. He has a sideboard plan that is exactly board out 8 things that are counter spells, board in 8 things that are removal spells.
Right, so we've seen this a couple times from Jeff. The 8 counter spells you're talking about are 3 Mana Leaks, 3 Remands, 1 Spell Snare, and 1 Spell Stutter Sprite. Though Spell Stutter Sprite's a creature, still not going to do much in this match.
It's a bad creature. Get it out.
So, what did we board in? 2 Magma Sprays, 2 Abrades, 2 Izzet Staticasters, 1 Roast, 1 Entrancing Melody, 8 removal spells.
Right. The Melody primarily for Tarmogoyf matchups, but it's just the 8th card you bring in here.
Right. Yeah, not great here, but at the same time, probably better than a Spell Stutter Sprite.
Right.
On Graebner's side, and we've seen this in this matchup before, we had Sin Collectors, Gut Shots, Auriok Champions, Izzet Staticasters, Selfless Spirits, Kataki, Reclamation Stage, Phantasmal Image, and Dismember. I know you like the Gut Shots and Staticasters, as Jeff's deck was X1s.
Yep.
There were thoughts about some of these other cards, these Champions or Spirits.
Right. Sin Collector is fine. We did see him bring in the Selfless Spirit previously. It's just a flying blocker, and Jeff's deck is flush with flying creatures, so it's sort of like another removal spell. It can definitely play in a lot of spots. Auriok Champion, I think, is a little bit mopey, and a big part of that is that Jeff's deck has a high volume of just 3-power flying creatures and blue creatures, so Auriok Champion doesn't matter in a pretty high volume of the games, actually.
Yeah, the only actual red creature are the 2 copies of Grim Lavamancer.
Right.
So, that's not going to do too much. Now, Jeff's, removal can't tag it, but at the same time, the creature will just hang out.
Yeah, the Dismember in Sam's sideboard is fine. When it comes specifically to Grim Lavamancer, you want to get that off the table.
Yeah.
4 life's a big cost. I get that.
Right, that would be my concern. Gut Shot, 2 life feels like enough to get rid of a Grim Lavamancer. 4 is, I mean, it might be worth it. It's going to depend on the board. I could see him bringing it in.
Yeah, 4's a lot, but drawing exactly 1 copy of the mix of Gut Shot and Dismember is just one of those is usually good. Drawing 2 is not always going to be ideal.
Well, Jeff Hoogland's march toward the top 8 started all the way in round number 1 this weekend. He was our feature match in round number 1. Caught up with him in round 9 as he was completing the 9-0 on day 1 and seen him a couple times today. If you have missed any of that during the tournament, make sure to check out our YouTube page. We will have, during the week, a full recap of all of this weekend's events. On top of that, we have our Versus Series, Commander Versus Series, and our newest thing, Flashback, where you learn more about the players on the SCG Tour. You can find all this at our YouTube page at youtube.com/StarCityGames.
Yeah, ton of great content. Few other matchups with this Wizards deck if you're intrigued about what Jeff is doing here.
And another result from our top 8. You know, the Storm curse here just continues. Caleb Shear, another top 8 with Storm, but he's going to be another one that he walks away without a trophy. Brett Cohen wins 2-0 over Caleb Shear.
Pretty unfortunate for Caleb. That was about his best matchup in the top 8, but Tron does have just enough stuff to disrupt him.
Players will trade 1-drops here. We see Delver of Secrets and Champion of the Bears. And Jeff with that trigger on the stack, Wizard's Lightning.
So you got to remember, Delver of Secrets transforms into a non-wizard creature, and Sactile Aberration is a human insect. Insect is its job, I guess. I don't fully understand it. I'm just reporting the facts.
And Jeff is now about 0 for 7 on these Delver triggers. But it may not matter here. Sam missed land number 2 for Noble Hierarch. So Jeff, he'll take advantage. Snapcaster Mage for Wizard's Lightning to shoot down Noble Hierarch again.
And even if he had an Aether Vial, this land does not cast it.
No plays for Sam. We go back. Magma Spray transforms the Delver. And Sam's just going to pick up straight away to the Magma Spray.
Well, there's just 5 points of damage coming through every turn, starting with that turn.
Yeah.
All of his creatures die to Magma Spray, the ones that cost 2 mana.
And we'll go to a 3. Hoagland winning that one in a minute. I'm interested in this matchup. Can you keep a 1-land hand on Sam's side with the amount of removal Hoagland plays?
On the draw, I mean, the thing about the 1-land hand is that the rest of your cards are creatures, right? That's how you beat a bunch of removal spells. On the play, they're a bit worse, because you want to make sure you're actually casting spells. On the draw, though, you get a couple looks at that second land, and if you hit it, you're just going to be keeping pace with Jeff's removal spells.
Yeah, I guess you're probably right here. Jeff has to run out at some point.
Right.
The thought would be that I guess Sam could, if he has lands, can start making 2 creatures a turn. But even then, I guess, removal spell, Snapcaster removal, flip another one. That's going to be too strong.
Right. If you're worried about getting attritioned out, mulliganing into more lands and a good amount of spells, you're asking kind of a lot of your 6.
Yeah.
Whereas your 7 is probably pretty good if you start making more land drops.
A couple things there may have been able to go on Sam's way with a gut shot. He at least doesn't take too much damage off the Delver.
Yeah.
But a quick game 3. We'll get ready now with Sam on the play. I guess that's the kind of game where Militia Bugler could really help out Graebner as well. If he just can, build up lands into Cavern on Bugler.
Ooh, and the hand here on 7, I see lands and an Is It Staticaster. We have not seen any of Jeff's opponent produce that card yet, and it's a big deal.
We've seen that in almost every match with Hoagland, that his opponent has had them in the sideboard. You said, this will be great, and you're right, no one's cast one yet.
It is boltable, but it's going to get something.
Champion of the Parish is the start for Graebner. Now, Hoagland might also have a Staticaster.
His Staticasters are a fair amount worse than Sam's.
Yeah.
The human creatures often have 2 or even 3 toughness.
Lightning Bolt from Jeff to take down the champion. We go back over to Graebner. Horizon Canopy into Thalia's Lieutenant. But if it's just a Horizon Canopy, there may not be the 3rd land for Graebner yet.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. Then even if it were something like a second Horizon Canopy, that doesn't make Staticaster good.
2 Delvers, and Sam's going to gut shot one of them.
I actually strongly disagree with this play.
If you draw the red source?
Yes. He didn't, so there's no harm, no foul there. But gut shot is just a 0 mana effect. Anytime you have a 0 mana effect, all things being equal for your opponent, just wait until your turn. If he drew the red source for the Staticaster, he would just cast that, get both Delvers.
I agree. Now, so a bit of a missed line, but it's not, as you mentioned, no punishment. He didn't draw the red source. So what it'll do here, Noble Hierarch, Exalt in for 3 damage. Hit Jeff down to 16.
And Delver Secrets will just never transform. He's only playing 21 instants and sorceries.
Shouldn't have boarded them all out, really.
I guess he boarded up to 22 because he boarded out Spellsetter Sprite.
Well, here's Staticaster of Jeff's.
No, actually down to 20 because of Staticasters.
He shoots away Noble Hierarch and attacks for 1 on his own, thinking this Delver's going to have to transform eventually. And it will, but not in time.
It will not.
In time. Here's Staticaster of Graebner's. It's a race that for Jeff, you have to feel bad about having lost. That the Staticaster, that this happened. Staticaster shoots down Delver. Lieutenant swings in for 3, Jeff to 12.
And now Jeff either needs one of his 2-point removal spells to combine with this Staticaster or a Lightning Bolt. His deck really has to get Is It Staticaster off the table.
Well, it has 2 things, right? It needs to get Staticaster off the table. Also, this Thalia's Lieutenant's up to a 3/3. If he waits too much longer, he won't be able to remove it.
Yeah, they can get up to a 4.
So it looks like we see a roast here on the Thalia's Lieutenant. That'll take care of that. I mean, it's a lot of respect that he doesn't get to remove the Staticaster.
That roast there, it feels like he either has Snapcaster Mage for the Staticaster next turn or some other answer.
Well, let's see. Kitesail Freebooter shows a Braid, Entrancing Melody, Snapcaster Mage. This is a great hand for Jeff.
Oh yeah, this is plenty of answers to that Staticaster, and nothing that the Freebooter can break up.
Well, if you take, right, because the Snapcaster will remove the Freebooter no matter what.
Yep.
You can't take it. This is a game where if Jeff can survive to Entrancing Melody, I'm really liking Jeff's position.
Yes.
I'd love to control 2 Staticasters. That sounds great.
Yeah, I have no problem with that. For Graebner, he probably just has to take this Abrade, even though it's not particularly good.
But no attacks yet, and I think because of that Entrancing Melody, pressure's now on Graebner. Hoogland passes.
He missed the land, but he still has access to Snapcaster Mage Lightning Bolt here.
An attack from Graebner is met with a top-decked Wizard's Lightning from Hoogland. He'll take back that Abrade.
And he can deal with the Staticaster now if he wants to, or wait for some other creature.
Yeah, Aether Vow from Samuel. I don't know if Jeff needs to Abrade yet, but he will. Staticaster is taken care of.
He'll want to inevitably.
Yeah, unless his plan was to try to Entrancing Melody it, then yeah, you're right.
I think it's fair enough to wait to just Melody something else. He already has his own Staticaster.
It's hard to make Entrancing Melody bad, you know?
Yeah.
Vial goes up to 1. Graebner draws another Kitesail Freebooter, but his hand is under some pressure here. We see Kitesail Freebooter from Graebner. It takes the Entrancing Melody, and Jeff says, well, he still has this Snapcaster Mage. Says go, and Snapcaster will take that sorcery right on back. And the only creature in Sam's hand is Champion of the Parish, and that's being kept in check by Jeff's 0-3. He'll vial that champion into play, and it'll get shot.
Sam could have committed the champion, like waited until the vial was up to 2 or a threshold for a different creature, and checked Jeff on activating the Staticaster, and then pumped it up. It feels like he's playing as if he thinks he's already lost.
Right, yeah, you make it as 1, and then you just never tap your Aether Vial. It's a big cost, but...
Well, eventually you just cast a creature.
Right.
Then you also have Vial backup.
Yeah, that does seem like a better way to have played it. And now he's taking hits off this Snapcaster Mage. Jeff also has added a Mutavault in. So Sam will try to recover with this Mantis Rider. Swings in for 3.
Ooh, here's a nice interaction. If Jeff steals this, Sam has a Reflector Mage in hand. As far as the way he sequenced this, though, he should have cast the Rider and left up activation on Vial. Again, it feels like his heart's not in it.
Yeah, he's down to 5 because right now he could have vialed in Reflector Mage. He could have bought his 3/3 back. He'd also be at 3 more life, which down to 5
He still gets to go to his turn in Reflector Mage and get the Mantis Rider in this turn off of the Vial, but he took a lot of damage for no reason.
Yeah, swings in for 3. Jeff's at 6. This one is now neck and neck between the two. Jeff, however, did add Wandering Fumarole, and with Sam at a low life total, he's got to be scared of that card.
Card Jeff drew looked like a red spell to me.
I think any red spell's good here.
Yeah.
Can't think of one that would be bad.
Well, the one I think I saw is Wizard's Lightning.
Oh, great.
That's a pretty good one. He can fire up the Fumarole. Yeah, I am not 100% on this, that being the card in hand, but the attack with the Fumarole, if Sam just blocks with the Reflector Mage and you don't really get anything for your trouble, he doesn't have the mana yet to also... He can fire up the Mutavault as well if he cracks the fetch land.
What if you activate Fumarole and swing with Snapcaster and Fumarole? And that's what he's going to do. Look, this is excellent. Because if Sam blocks the Snapcaster, the Staticaster finishes off the blocker. If Sam takes 2, you bolt his face.
Right. I don't know if you can make a block that leaves you dead to a Lightning Bolt here. He has seemingly elected to do that.
Yeah, he's going to go to 3. And Jeff says go. I don't think we have a Wizard's Lightning. This is close. Sam's at 3.
Noble Hierarch picked up for Sam. That's not going to have any impact on this game.
No, the attacks Jeff down to 3. Noble Hierarch And I believe another creature in Sam's hand. Yeah, Champion of the Parish. He'll make Champion. He'll try for Noble Hierarch. Staticaster shoots down Champion. Graebner says go. Now Jeff can make him chump away that Mantis Rider, right? Wandering Fumarole does that.
Yeah, any of his attacks do. You know, his creature, the Fumarole, yeah, you're going to have to block that because it becomes a lethal attacker.
And
But Jeff doesn't have anything. He doesn't, his hand's all lands.
The Fumarole was traded away. No, it's not there. Jeff can't beat the Mantis Rider.
Yeah.
And